What I would like to know from the panel in terms of a reaction is it better for us to focus on customary practices rather than getting into these formal legislations and institutions? Is it better for us to focus there? Because there is now, I can't say proper empirical evidence, there is some kind of evidence that actually that is much more meaningful than the amount of time that we spent on formal policies, regulations, and institutions. Second point, and I'm speaking this as a member of the developing country communities. Rio Plus 20 is coming up in another year and a half time. We know for a fact that any kinds of commitments in terms of finances that were supposed to come from the industrialized world has not come. There are members from government agencies sitting in the panel. How much would our strategies and our policies been different if we looked at it as a scenario without external financial support? Can we start standing up and saying, we are going to stand on our own feet, and this is our policy. If you want to come and put in money, come and put in. Otherwise, I don't need it. Because I think in many of our cases, our policies would have been completely different and we wouldn't be driven by somebody else. So what's the comment of the panel?
That was very good, George. That was very good. May I request any of the panelists respond to some of the questions that have been put to you? Madam Minister, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. There are so many questions I would like to, I try to answer it. First, donor-recipient relationship. I think, as an example, in Indonesia, there are so many donors coming, GTZ, ADB, AUS8, etc. So it depends on us, how we coordinate all the donors. Like in Lombok, and also in Tarakan and South Sumatra, we ask them what to do, not the other way around. This is a real example because we know what is exactly the needs of the local government. Certainly, there is always a gap between if the local government communicate directly with the donors because there is a language problem. And there is also a law in Indonesia that the local government cannot receive directly assistance from international donor. So that is already a regulation that they need to come to us at the national level, and then we try to accommodate the needs of the local government. We have also the centralization law that the local government has the right to do some activities by their own. But since climate change is a new issue for them, although some provinces have already traditional knowledge, because I heard some comments also about indigenous community. Indigenous community also have traditional knowledge. They have their way how to prevent the risk if there is landslides, etc. They have a wisdom. So we have to maintain the traditional knowledge in several areas. Therefore, in my comment that the key requirements at the local government that the national government need to strengthening the resilience of communities affected by climate change. We need to strengthen it. We don't need to create a new system, a new methodology. So that I hope can answer about the donor-recipient relationship. So it depends on us, the recipient, how to make use of the resources from the donor agencies. And I also answered the indigenous community that we in Indonesia have 400 provinces, and we have our own language. We have also local wisdom, local traditional knowledge that we would like to maintain and we would like to strengthening in order that they can be more effective in combating climate change. Anja, regarding the learning from the bottom experiences, as I mentioned, the Lombok case is a very good example that this is, I told you, I informed you that we at the national level already launched what we call it Indonesian Climate Change Sectoral Roadmap. For adaptation, we have 4 sectors become our priority, but the implementation is still very weak, frankly speaking. But here, there is a local government initiative, leadership, and we accommodate this leadership, we support them, and we try to replicate to other provinces. This is really a bottom-up approach. Example, the learning from the bottom is real, is concrete, based on our experience. And regarding...
Could we keep it brief, madam?
Yeah, okay, because there are so many question to me. Also, I hope that the governance issue is very important. We need to accommodate the interests of the local people. The local governance also have their wisdom, traditional governance. Therefore, we don't need to dictate all from the national level. And I think maybe the last one is that how much that we can stand in our feet from the last question. As I mentioned, that my president showed to the world that we, Indonesia, would like to do action, voluntary action, by our own money, by reducing emission to 26% with our own money. We show to the world and we try to elaborate in our climate change action plan, as I mentioned before. The policies and regulation for developing countries, I think we still need policies and regulation. We cannot say that, okay, we don't need the legal framework because developing countries always still need legal framework before we implement our program. But we can do it at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I now ask Madam Provocateur to respond to how the panelists responded to her questions.
Well, basically, if I want to address all the issues that have been raised or want to answer all the questions that have been posed, it will actually require another session. So I'll not get into that. I think the panelists have all focused from their own respective country stand, and these are all realities we are confronted with. Law has its role to play. Law has its limitations too. As lawyers, we'll definitely want more and more laws so that we can play around terminologies, but definitely people who are exposed to this crisis are not waiting for laws to define their rights and define the duties of the actors. They are doing it, they have already started solving their problems. I will just try to respond to some of the issues that have been raised from the floor in terms of fund. See, when we come to US negotiations, we always talk about not having adequate fund. When I go back home and talk to the NGOs who are involved in the development sector, they're all flooded with funds. What are they doing? NGOs not having any background whatsoever in dealing with environment are now dealing with climate change funds. So we definitely actually need to regulate the functioning of the donor agencies. And my donors who actually fund me for my conservation and the other environmental legal works, they have now started telling me, can you tune your project somewhat to fit to the climate change scenario. So you see, this is a reality we are confronted with, and we actually have to do something about it. We must set our own priorities, no matter what. About accountability, I think I mean, one of the purpose of law is actually, one is to give more business to lawyers, but other is to set accountability. And who is more accountable to you if not your community representatives? Is ADB going to be answerable to the community people in Bangladesh? ADB and World Bank, they'll operate in countries who give them impunity. The first condition for them to operate is impunity. They cannot be questioned for any of the projects that they support. So in this culture, I mean, I think it's the community structure who are more accountable, and they are the ones to whom you can access very easily. So definitely I would say that community structures have to be strengthened. And another thing that's important is linking people. We do have regional setups, but the regional setups have not always been very effective in addressing the regional tensions. So why not linking the forest people of Nepal with the forest people of the rest of Asia Pacific, so that we can learn from their experience about how they are tackling the various problems of forest management. About intentions, of course, I mean, as lawyers, we do question intentions. For us, it's important to be bona fide as opposed to being mala fide, but I do not understand the whole concept of trust fund and then going to the US negotiations and saying that I have deposited this amount of money to the trust fund in Bangladesh, when the reality is you have actually not defined your trustees well. So I won't say that it is good intention if you don't define your trustees well. To me, I would at that stage question the intention of the whole setup. Definition, how do you define notes and concepts? I would say that it has to be country specific to be effective, because at the UN you take the concerns of 194 countries and you are bound to come to some sort of a compromise. So to ensure that our definitions are effective, to ensure that our notions are clear and they respond to our needs, they must be country specific. To answer what George has said about should we not be moving even if the international community doesn't come with us, are we sitting there, George? The communities are already doing their things. But the thing is, when we say should we be setting our priorities, have we at the national level set our priorities right? It's true that the international community may not come with you. It's true that the UNFCCC may have given you an exemption that you don't do if the developed countries don't do. But do you really enjoy the exemptions? You don't. We are doing it anyway, but I don't think it's a question of either or, because I take climate change as a justice issue, and I think those who are responsible for the bulk of the problem must pay back their climate debt. If they do not pay back their climate debt, that doesn't mean we don't work. We do it anyway. But the thing is, it's important to tell people that we have something to get from you because of what you have done to us and to our future. Thank you very much.
That was an excellent session, and I will I'm sorry to have encroached on your happiness a little bit. We've gone over time by about 6 minutes. I thank you all for being here this morning. I hope you enjoyed our panel and our very provocative provocateur. May I ask you all to give them all a very big hand. Thank you very much, and have a good day.